My name's Steve and I love people who make things. We're a nation of inventive, inspiring makers.
This room alone will produce 100,000 items a year. But yeah, it used to be full of cows.
I'm on a mission to list the greatest products we make, because if we don't champion the skills on our doorstep, we risk losing them.
One of the biggest challenges we have here is our ageing workforce.
Join me as we hear stories from behind the factory doors.
My poor son, he jokes about it now. You used to make me sleep in a suitcase.
We never argue. Sure, we have a bit of a... Yeah, we have tense moments.
Together, let's make more makers. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the factory next door. Welcome to Mayfair in London. The sun is out, thank goodness, putting me very much in a holiday mood. Feels appropriate for this week's show, as number 11 on our list of the greatest products we make in Britain is the carry-on case. Before me, in the shop window, I'm looking at some of the best carry-on cases you can buy in the world. The brand is Globetrotter. They've been around since 1897. Their cases are beloved by royalty and celebrities. They've got a very distinctive look. Leather corners, 2 leather straps wrapped around the case. I'm looking at one in the window right now, which I particularly like. It's a very deep orange, a burnt orange, with dark brown leather trim. Let's head to the factory. I want to know what's the secret to their durability. Both the products themselves, which are known to last for generations, but also the brand. Whilst I put on some summer tunes and head around 20 miles north of here, have a listen to what's coming up in today's show.
It's being very confident in who you are, but also at the same time as recognising what works.
Makes you feel proud. And when it's out there in the market and you see it on the website, on social media, I think that's where it's like, oh wow.
You know, there's no robots, there's no conveyor belt.
Yeah, I like the creation side and building things up from scratch, and yeah, it's fun.
Exactly.
I don't know whether I'd have the confidence to put it in a holder, or are these people who just fly private jet?
Not at all.
How did they get the elephant on the suitcase? Just
They coaxed it with an apple. Hi, my name's James Fisher. I am currently the Product Development Director for Globetrotter.
And right next to you, James, is an old battered suitcase. Please don't take that as a rude comment.
Actually, I always feel like they look better when they've been a little bit lived in. This case itself is the oldest one which we have. The brand was formed in 1897 in Dresden in Germany. Moved over to the UK in the early 1930s. Our USP is vulcanized fiberboard. It's our DNA. Vulcanized fiberboard is 14 layers of specially formulated paper that's been laminated together. It's incredibly durable material, made with a certain amount of moisture left inside the board so that it's easier to work with, but it dries out after 10 years. So it's a living product up until then.
When you said that's the oldest suitcase you've got, when is that from?
Well, when you have a look on the side, there's a stamp, a maker's mark on the side. This one here would say made in Saxony, which you can just vaguely see across the bottom. So we know that that was pre-1932. Anything else afterwards, if you look at some of the other cases, so this one was made in England. So this would take this from probably around about 1950 onwards.
So this suitcase here is probably about 90 years old?
Yes, well, 2024 minus 1930.
I feel bad about being mean about its scuffs and it looking slightly old now, because it looks amazing for 90 years old.
It could be a Paddington case, couldn't it?
It really could.
What we do find when we walk around the factory, you'll see our repair department as well, and you'll see cases that have come back. You know, they could be this old, that just having a handle replaced or a new lock on it as well, and they get handed down through generations as well. So a recent case, pardon the pun, a gentleman, his mother had unfortunately died, and he'd gone up into the loft to clear the loft out and found a whole set of cases. So he brought them in here to be upgraded. So some of them have had wheels put on them. But each of his kids have now got one of these cases that came out of their grandma's loft as well. And there's kind of stories that abound like that with Globetrotter as well. But
There's no shortage of companies out there at the moment who, I'm pleased to say, are very keen to kind of stress, all of our products are kind of naturally based. Sustainability sits at the heart of what we do, and it's great that companies are doing that. You were doing that 130 years ago.
Exactly. And we're not a fashion brand, but we move in those kind of circles, I guess. And the sustainability greenwash that you hear a lot of it kind of stops me from talking about it a lot of the time, because I think our credentials are actually quite real.
Can we have a look around?
Yes, let's go and have a look around. As I said, you can either have the abridged version or the unabridged version. The unabridged version is basically everything from the skin and the sheet of fibre board to dispatch.
What do you think, friends? Okay, they're saying we want the whole thing.
Let's do the whole thing.
So we've just wandered into to a factory. First thing we see is rolls and rolls of material, and I spot on one of the shelving units someone's written Gucci.
Yes. In 2016 they approached us to do a collaboration with them. Alessandro Micheli, who was the creative director at the time, was quite a big Globetrotter fan as well. And that team got in touch with us, which is a bit of a pinch yourself moment. It's been good fun. And any collaboration we do is good fun, because to translate their DNA into our suitcase, it's quite a symbiotic thing to do, really, because we're respectful of them, they're respectful of us, and we finish up with a great product, really.
And I know you do some amazing collaborations, which we'll chat about in a little bit. I will just casually mention things like Aston Martin, F1, 007. Just
be me, that's the name dropper. I grew up in South Africa. I left South Africa in 1986 and travelled around for a while and finished up working in a pub as a chef in the next village along from where we currently are, in Hoddesdon. I met my wife, who used to drink in the pub, and her dad owned a leather business. And he offered me a job, and I started off cutting leather. I came out of the factory, I finished up managing the factory. I came out of the factory to do sales, because we lost quite a big account that was offshored. And I went into Globetrotter's store in Burlington Arcade and introduced myself, because there weren't very many leather goods there, and I thought I'd just go out on a limb and go and introduce myself and see whether they would be interested in getting some leather goods made. So and they finished up buying the business. So I guess in that time, really, in my 37-year career, I've been everything from a leather cutter all the way up to sales and marketing director through to product development.
So you joined Globetrotter because effectively they bought.
Yes.
Well, not effectively, they bought the leather company that you were working.
That's correct,
at.
yeah. And they got me.
And they got you. Forget the leather company. What they really wanted was you, James.
See, this is what we have. We've got a 40,000 square foot factory. We've got a straight run. We have all the materials coming in at the top and literally working their way down through a production line. There's no robots, there's no conveyor belts. Everything moves down through the factory on a trolley, which I'll show you in a minute.
It's interesting looking around, actually. I am struck by how few kind of machines there are. I mean, there are some machines, but as you say, there are no robots, and it's very much kind of people, products, and workspaces.
If you were in one of the bigger leather factories in the country, they have laser cutting machines, because they're cutting a lot of pieces every day. Whereas for us, if you look at the chap that's cutting the straps for the suitcases, he's cutting them one by one He's inspecting the leather because it's a natural leather. He's inspecting it as he's going along to make sure there's no flaws in it. He's actually turning the cutter for the straps to make sure that if there are any flaws in it, it's a part that isn't seen or a part that's overlapped or hidden as well. So, we're not at that stage where we need to be using laser cutters, for example. Where you will see probably one of the most modern machines we've got is the 2 CNC cutting machines, which we use for cutting vulcanized fiberboard. Those have come in the last 4-5 years, where prior to that we used to use an 1890s hand guillotine, which...
That's quite a difference, switching from the 1890s hand guillotine to the laser cutter.
Vulcanized fiberboard itself is incredibly thick, incredibly strong, really, really difficult to cut. So the CNC machines work really well on it.
What are you most proud of?
Good question. I would say Gucci. To be able to go there with confidence and sit down with designers, like Alessandro Michele himself, and kind of say this is what this is what we do. They particularly wanted a 4-wheel case, which I said is what we don't do that, and they were like, well, how can we do that? And they helped us develop it, and hence the reason you see 4-wheel cases now. So I think in that, and the lining, the drop-in lining with the Velcro, and like working all of that lot out, I think that was probably the most testing and also probably the most high profile, because it appeared in, got everything from the Kardashians through to Japanese Vogue, and I think that was probably like the most rewarding for me.
And we now get a look actually all the way down the factory, and you can see all of the people at their benches working away.
In this particular area here we have our carry-on, 4-wheel carry-on case. You have someone on the other side there putting locks on. You have someone on this side putting handles on. Once that trolley's done, it'll move on to the next station where they'll start riveting it together.
They've already taken a huge leap in terms of becoming identifiable here. In this one step, going from sheets and some bits, you're already spotting that and identifying that as one of your luxury suitcases.
Already in section 2, so we're only like 2 steps in. You've gone from a sheet of fiberboard and a skin of leather to corners, formed carcasses as well.
Locks, handles.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people learning.
Brendan, very nice to meet you. Are you a Tottenham fan?
Yes, I am. Born and bred. Who do you support?
I'm a Leeds fan.
Someone's got to be.
I want to ask you about using your hands. Is that something that you actively were wanting to do? To go into a job where you're creating things, moulding things?
In a sense, I've always worked with my hands. I've worked on site, I've worked with film sets, I've worked all over the board, and everything's always been with my hands. And to the sense of being a creative, as James knows already, I am a creative myself outside of work. So, yeah, I like the creation side and building things up from scratch, and yeah, it's fun.
What do you do outside of work? You've intrigued me now.
I write my own music.
So you make luxury suitcases during the day, make music by night?
Yeah, literally. That is literally it. For me, I like jobs that give me a goal, whereas, like for example, my previous job, I didn't have no goals, there was no destination. So if I can progress and I can learn, it's a win-win for everyone, do you know what I mean? But yeah.
My job soon.
He's got it in his eyes though, hasn't he? It's like, we're laughing, but actually I'm serious, I am after it, James.
Yeah, he is.
How is recruitment? Because a recurring theme on this show when I'm chatting to people in factories up and down the country is this idea that actually getting the next generation interested in making things seems quite difficult at times. And there's a worry that some skills are being lost or could be lost if we don't bring and make manufacturing aspirational for future generations.
I think the difference for Globetrotter is that we're not based in an area that's traditionally known for hat making, shoe making, any of the other traditional centres like Northamptonshire or Luton or wherever. I mean, traditionally this area is a vegetable growing, a salad growing area because it's in the Lee Valley. But, so we don't rely on, like those families and generations of people as you'd find with Clark's Shoes, for example, in Glastonbury or whatever, where people have all pass through the factory, and it doesn't happen here. I mean, we rely on local people to come in that are, actually interested in making something. You can see when you interview people whether they're going to be any good or not, because most of the people that are good know about Globetrotter already. The young lad that you spoke to earlier, he knew everything about Globetrotter when he came in because he had an interest in it. He's into rap. He'd seen Tyler the Creator with our cases. It could be someone coming in with an interest in modelling that's seen Kate Moss using our cases, or Daniel Craig, or anybody else like that. It's an aspirational brand, and therefore, hopefully, youngsters aspire to work within that as well.
And then what you find over here, this is called backing up. This is where the lids are attached to the bases of the suitcase. You can see a little brass plaque on the side of the case there.
I can,
That's
yeah.
an individual serial number, so every case is individually serial numbered. So in the days before GDPR, we could actually track where the cases were. And if you had a repair and you took the case in for repair, we could put that number into the database, and you could actually find out when it was made, who it was sold to, how old it is as well.
These beautiful suitcases, obviously your most popular is the carry-on, but we're seeing some really big ones as well on our tour, some really big ones which presumably go in the hold.
Exactly.
I don't know whether I'd have the confidence to put it in a hold, or are these people who just fly private jet?
No, not at all. I think everybody says the same thing. They are incredibly robust. I mean, our mascot is an elephant, and in 1912 at the zoo in Hamburg, they actually got an elephant to stand on a suitcase. So the elephant, since Elephant John, has since become our sort of emblem, or our mascot. But they are incredibly strong. I mean, I could put that case on the floor and jump up and down, and they don't break.
How did they get the elephant on the suitcase?
They coaxed it with an apple.
Hi, if you're enjoying the show and want to support our makers and manufacturers, please hit the subscribe or follow button. If you're listening on Apple, hit the stars and rate the show. It takes a small moment but makes a big difference. Thanks. Right, back to the chat. So we've just stepped off the factory floor and come into a very quiet office, and I'm gate crashing someone as they try and do some work. I'm so sorry. Say hello.
Hi, I'm Sonia.
Sonia, can I ask what you do?
Yes, so I'm part of the design team. So myself and Sarah, who's the other designer, so we create all the lovely projects that you kind of see. So Sarah kind of does all the creative design work, and I actually create the specifications. So taking what Sarah's designed, I put it to life, and that's what's used out in the factory. So they will use this, and this will govern the colours, the threads, the type of fiberboard that's kind of used. So it's kind of the mechanical, kind of technical side to the design work.
Everyone has kind of left this room since I walked in. But no one's listening. Do you enjoy your job?
Yes, I do.
You were quite quick on that.
Yes. Yeah, no, I do really enjoy what I do, because I'm more of a kind of technical kind of side designer sort of thing. So this role suits me fine, and I do really enjoy what I do, because it's all like the nitty gritty measurements and all those kind of things. So not so much of the fluffiness, but all the more of the technical side, and that kind of suits me more as a designer.
What's your favourite part of your job?
Seeing them come to life, seeing the product, the end product, when it's brought into us, or whether we're out in the factory, and you just stand back and think, wow, we've done that, we've done it as a team. Makes you feel proud. And when it's out there in the market and you see it on the website, on social media, I think that's where it's like, oh wow. Yeah.
Do you ever see anyone at the airport with one of your bags and you kind
haven't.
of run through security after them? That's mine.
No, I recently just come back off honeymoon, so I was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I was looking out at the airport, thinking, will I see a Globetrotter? But I haven't seen one yet. But hopefully, as we get bigger and bigger, we will be out there more.
I'm sure you will. Sonia, it was lovely chatting to me. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
It wasn't lovely chatting to me. Sorry, it was lovely chatting to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Do you ever get blasé about seeing famous faces constantly walking around with your products?
No, I don't think so, because it's so varied. I mean, I certainly never get blasé about
anything in that factory, and I hope it probably shows as well that I still find it miraculous that, you know, top end of the factory you've got a skin of leather and a sheet of vulcanised fibreboard, but at the bottom of the factory you've got a really beautiful luxury £1,500 suitcase. I mean, we had a visit from Tyler the Creator last year. He's such a great guy, really, really fantastic. So much time for everyone that was here. Actually, one of the guys, Josh, that was in there, I actually made a point, because I knew that he really liked him, and I kind of made a point of making him hang around until we were walking around, and he was stuttering, he was just so nervous, but you know, like Tyler just walked in and was like, "Hey man, you're a G, you are," you know. But I don't think you could get blasé about it.
When news broke that I was going to turn up, did anyone kind of ask to see me?
They did, yeah. They were all queuing up. You probably didn't see them because they're on tea break at the same time. But
well, that's very sweet for you lying there. Thank you. Have you done things which, on reflection, you've thought actually that was probably a misstep?
Would I sound very conceited if I said no?
Yes. No, of course not.
I don't think we have.
How is that possible?
I mean,
You must have something within your dynamics, within the way that the company operates, for you to be able to avoid missteps like that. Is it just about being ultra careful? Is it about being confident in who you are, maybe?
It's being very confident in who you are, but also at the same time as recognising what works. You know, Aston Martin Formula One racing team doesn't necessarily work with a piece of luggage, but Aston Martin car itself, I mean, works with that perfectly with that, because we can talk to the vintage Aston Martin and we can talk to the Valkyrie Aston Martin, you know, the new carbon fibre, because if you look around our design studio at the moment, I mean, I'm pointing to a recycled carbon fibre case that we've developed with a company in Milton Keynes that specialises in racing car bodies. You know, so we've got that, but then at the same time we could be speaking to Aston Martin in Newport Pagnell, who are the heritage arm of Aston Martin, with just one of our standard centenary suitcases as well. So, you know, we are not holders to the brand, but you know, it's quite a small team. You know, we steer people that possibly haven't been here for that long into how things should be with Globetrotter, I guess.
So in this section I see a lot of bags, still looking great, but clearly bags that have travelled the world.
Well, going back to our original conversation when you first came in, when you look at a case like that, we can age that case. I'm guessing it says made in England on the side of it.
It does.
So that would be anything from 1950 onwards. I mean, there's something really beautiful about that it's been bashed around, it's been travelling all over the world, and it's come back for a new handle on it.
There is, because you look at that suitcase and it screams stories. Yeah. It screams adventures. It screams I've been around and seen things.
That's when I said to you earlier about travelling on a budget airline in a horrible airport somewhere. I mean, it's your companion as well. You know, there is something, and that's just not marketing corniness. There is something really beautiful about travelling with a Globetrotter case as well. I mean, yeah, as I said, this one's come back so this one could be 50 years old, come back for a new handle on it.
And off it goes. Travel the world again.
Yeah.
A lot of airline stickers on the side of it.
Yemen.
Been to Yemen. Can we pester you, Joe? Hello, Joe. And so, am I right in thinking you're the repairman? When people send back their luggage, your hands are the ones that bring it back to life.
Yes, yes, I'm the one, and I can show you something there.
Show me.
Like this one, this guy, he had it repaired many times. Frame is gone completely, and he decided he wants a new lid for it. So does the case come to life with an old body with it? But obviously he's still attached to it so much. We put a couple of patches where there's this crack. So, and the guy, he'll be happy with it. That's the new lid. And then we'll see him for another 10, 15, 20 years. And the guy, he used a lot of the cases, so we relined it all. Looks like new.
Do you think about the adventures these items have been on?
We had one guy, actually he was a famous writer, and the guy, he lived in the one of the Asian country, and the case was really totally gone, but he insists that he will have it repaired. So we did, and he was very pleased. He even sent me an email that I printed on the wall there. You can have a look. Maybe you know the guy. I think he's got over 1 million people followers. They follow him.
Let's have a look.
I'll show you the name. You might know him. That's the name of the guy.
Okay, so I do recognise that name. Very famous travel author. I won't name him. I don't want to breach privacy or something like that, but I can assure you listeners he's a very, very well known. Joe, it's been lovely chatting to you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
When we think about the next 10, 20 years, are you optimistic about wider British manufacturing?
I think people are going to become more and more discerning, not just wealthy people, but people like you and I as well, where the shoes that you'll buy won't be disposable. They'll be something that you can have resold and carry on using for forever, which is the same with our suitcases as well. As people become more discerning and more concerned about where things are produced and how they're produced, you look at the backlash that the clothing industry's had in the last couple of years. I think people are having a greater conscience. There will always be discerning people in Japan who care about where their shoes are made. There'll always be discerning people in the States who care about, that their shoes were made in the UK. There'll always be customers driving Rolls Royces because they're the best in the world. So I guess that's the answer to the question. I think is looking quite optimistic for both Globetrotter as a brand and for UK manufacturing.
James, thank you enormously for taking the time to show me around and chat to me. It is much appreciated.
Thank you very much indeed, and thanks for highlighting what we do.
Oh, it's getting a bit blustery out there. Okay, number 11 on our list of the greatest products we make in Britain, the Globetrotter carry-on case. Goes into our shed of greatness. My thanks to James and to everyone actually in the factory who very kindly took the time to chat to me whilst I was being shown around. Of course, also a big thank you to you for letting me hang out with you. Thank you, PC Smoky, Hey Prue. Much appreciated your comments on Apple, and also everyone who has commented on Instagram. Greatly appreciated. If you've got any ideas on what needs to go on our list of the greatest products made in Britain, do reach out. Search on Instagram, The Factory Next Door, or email me, steve@thefactorynextdoor.com. I'm going to retire inside now. It's starting to get a bit blustery, and I think it's now starting to rain after the glorious sunshine we had earlier. I suppose it is spring in the UK. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're not stuck in a shed with it raining outside. I hope the sun is shining on you. Until next time, bye.